I'm Sarah.
And we are doing Bickering book reviews.
I feel like we wave at the camera a lot.
We do.
So I take back my wave.
I talk with my hands, which is bad.
I know, and it's bad because sometimes it's like below the camera, so I'm like moving.
I know.
But you can't actually see that I'm like moving.
And when my hands get closer, my hands look huge. So it's weird. But anyway,
moving along.
Anyway, a little sidetracked. We are talking about The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. We were both very, very excited when this book came out.
Kind of fangirl over her, like crazy squeal, Justin Bieber fan squeal.
Right.
Like, love her. I mean, competitive bagpipe player, fainting goats, and cool cars. Like, I just don't even know like how you get cooler than that.
That's true.
And she was at BookCon this weekend, which I got to go to, which was awesome. And I got to see her on a panel, and like, you know, straight out of nowhere, she just jumps on a chair. Like, that's how she enters a room. Just gets on a chair.
That works.
Like, where do you go from that?
And I will admit that I liked Lament. I liked Shiver, but like Linger and Forever, I was like, oh, okay. But then when Raven Boys came out, and I actually listened to Raven Boys, and Raven Boys audiobook is awesome. It's read by Will Patton, who's like a big time actor, and he just does like this great like American Gothic reading. And gospel. And it was like a radio show. It was awesome. And I just got sucked in, and then I read Sinner, which is a spin-off of the other series, of the Wolf of Mercy Falls series.
Oh my gosh.
Like the way the book is put together, like the actual word choices.
I literally wanted to rip off my skin, but like in a good way, because it was just so
good.
Beyond words. Like, and I listened to that on audiobook.
And the audiobook is awesome.
Mind blown.
Like incredible.
And that's kind of where I freak out with her, because you know that if you're listening to an audiobook, it's going to be awesome. If you're reading the book, it's going to be awesome. She creates artwork for all of her books, which is freaking phenomenal.
I have the Raven Boy tarot cards.
Oh, I do too.
Yes.
Been there, done that. Then you've got the tarot cards. She creates soundtracks for her books. Like, she creates worlds for her books. It's beyond so many other authors, because there's just, like, you can immerse yourself in her world. And she has great character development. I feel like I know these characters.
I do. And so what we're talking about today is The Raven King, which is the last book in the Raven Boys series. Is that what it's called?
It's the Raven Cycle.
The Raven Cycle series. And this is where everything kind of comes to a head. What's going to happen with Ronan in the dream world? What's going to happen with Gansey and Blue? Is she going to kiss him and is he going to die? What's Adam's final... Just what's going to happen with Adam?
His final stand.
Poor Adam. I just want to hug him and make him cookies.
See, but I feel like if you hugged him, he'd be all spiky though. Like, you just come back with like spines all up and down your arms.
But he has to be that way because of his childhood. He's so damaged. Poor Adam.
I mean, but I also think that he kind of creates some of what... He is a product of his environment, but he also kind of...
that chip.
But like, I think he adds to his own misery is the problem.
Poor Adam. So where should we start? We've already been talking for quite a few minutes about this.
But poor Adam.
Ronan. Oh, Ronan. Okay.
So I think this last book really kind of brings up the fact that the series is really about Ronan and not Gansey and Blue. You
thought it was about Gansey.
For the longest time, you just automatically believe that it's about Gansey and Blue, but it's not.
And I love every so often in the chapters, I'm trying to find one, it says, depending on where you start, the story is about, and she picks a different person.
Yeah.
And you know what? She never picked Gansey or Blue. And I thought that was interesting. And I can't find one.
Did she pick Ronan?
I think Ronan did get one. Depending on where you do the story depending on where you began the story, it was about Henry Chen. And like there were different times. And so at one point it was depending on where you began the story, it was about Cabeswater, which I liked that.
Yeah, it was poetic.
It was very poetic. She's a wordsmith.
She's amazing. Like I said, I'm fangirling
It's
super
okay.
hard.
It's okay.
She's amazing.
So I will say, though, my only issue with the book that made me really, 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 really like it, but not yet and love it forever, was it felt like a series finale. Which I guess it's nice that everything was tied up and everything was done, but it was, you know, like when you tune into that last episode of your favorite show and you know it's just you're kind of like running out of gas and it's kind of easing its way done. And I think that was my problem with it.
See, and it wasn't that it wasn't strong.
Oh,
it was
incredibly
just
well written.
It was just what was expected. I mean, it was just you were plodding along to the ending that you knew was coming, and it wasn't like you were kind of propelled along. It was more just like, well, yeah,
There it
that's
is.
obviously how it has to happen. Okay, I'm not a fan. Not saying that I'm not a fan of it, but just saying like I wish it were some other way. But I get why it has to be this way, and I get why we're going through it like this, and it's just like plodding along.
Yes. And I think we're going to have to go immediately into spoilers because there's so much stuff to talk about in this book, and we're going to try to get through it quickly. Should we start with Adam and Ronan?
Oh, Adam and Ronan.
Adam and Ronan, the implication to me at the end, are kind of get together.
I know, and that kind of like, I'm so nervous about that though, just because they're so breakable, both of them.
But I feel like they're so wounded and broken and that they understand each other and that this is somebody who's going to love them. And
I know.
And I love that Adam's like, I always wanted to leave and never come back, but now I kind of want to leave and I could come back. I could totally see Adam coming back and like owning a business in the town in Henrietta or like running the school or something. Because Ronan's never going to leave.
Well, and I'm just kind of wondering if it sets it up to kind of be cycle-wise, to be very similar to the way 300 Fox Way kind of came together.
Right.
Like, these guys are going to come back and live together and have their own... Because there are implications that there will be future quests to happen.
Right.
I don't personally believe that she's going to write about any more future quests in this.
I'm completely
But I'm okay with
satisfied.
that. I do need another book, but I need this book to be about 300 Fox Way. I love that house. I love those psychics. I just want a book about them.
I did enjoy them, but I wasn't like totally like need a book.
No, they're like my favorite part of this whole series.
So the one thing that kind of bugged me was I felt like out of nowhere she introduced Henry.
She did, but I loved Henry. I wouldn't trade him for the world.
I felt like he was just like, oh, he's here, but he was great, and I liked his interaction with Blue, and I liked his interaction with Gansey, and then the Robo-Bee.
It was so weird, and I so wanted to hate it because it was weird, but I kind of loved it.
I liked it. I really liked it, but I kind of felt convenient. But those were the only two concerns, and the only other thing was I didn't completely feel satisfied about what happened with Gansey and Blue, but I can't think of anything else that you could possibly have done, and I'm happy with they ended up, and I don't want it to change. I just felt like, oh, that happened.
I think it speaks to the rest of the book. It was what was supposed to happen.
Right.
It was expected. It wasn't surprising, but it wasn't unsatisfying.
And the other thing is, I loved, triple loved, to infinity loved the other books in the series. That I think it's kind of like when your favorite TV show is going off the air, your favorite episode is never the last episode. Nobody's like...
The one Full House, I really liked that last episode. I'm just saying,
Really?
Michelle lost her memory.
That's horrible.
There were two Olsen twins, finally.
See, and I'm just like, last episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when they sucked somebody
Oh,
on
that
the
was
helmet.
very unsatisfying.
That was weird. I was like, what is that?
Unsatisfying.
So, and it's not that it was unsatisfying. I'm completely satisfied. I'm completely okay. It's just, it's not going to be, like, Raven Boys was, like, life-changing. Dream Thieves, when you find out the whole thing with, like, Ronan and the dreams, and where did Matthew, that's where you find out where Matthew came from, right? That was awesome. Blue Lily Blue, mind-blowing.
So I have to reread this whole series.
That's something else.
By the way.
We're going to have to do, like, the whole thing again on audiobook, because it was incredible.
See, it's going to be hard for me to get onto audiobook, though, because since I started reading it, I have my own personal voice for the characters, that it's hard for me to match them up. Even though it's a great audiobook.
It's a great audiobook.
It's just going to be hard for me to, like, shift that focus.
I literally made extra trips so I could listen to it more in my car.
It's kind of like Harry Potter in movie. Like, that's not how I pictured the characters, and so it just doesn't sit well with me.
Oh, see, I love the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, we're not going to get into that.
No, it's a whole other discussion.
True story.
Should we grade the book? Let's grade the book.
Oh, no, I did want to bring up this, though. So I did see Maggie Stiefvater at Bickering. Stiefvater, just by the way. Because they really didn't even address that at BookCon. They were just like making fun of how nobody knows how to say her last name.
If you listen to the audiobook, it says Stiefvater.
Well, and she, super awesome, somewhere on the interwebs, she actually says it for you and like gives you little mnemonics that can go with it. So I'm so like obsessed that my autocorrect like knows how to spell her last name. It's so bad.
Anyway.
But anyway, she was talking about at BookCon how this was ultimately a story about Ronan, yes, but she was saying basically that it seemed like she saw herself in Ronan in that she kind of grew up in a very similar town in in Virginia, where it seemed like she was surrounded by consumers and how she felt like she was always creating.
It's interesting.
And so kind of that's where this idea stemmed from, in that she wanted to make a character who created.
So she wrote Ronan first and then created the story around him?
It kind of sounded that, I mean, she didn't really get into it, but that's kind of how it sounded to me. And I thought that was super interesting.
That is interesting.
Because it really is a book about creation.
Right.
And if you look at it in that way.
About sacrifice. Because Cave's-Water sacrifices itself for Gansey. Again, spoiler alert.
Oops.
I already said it. It counts. Yeah. It's like from there on out, you're done.
It counts. Yeah. But I think that also speaks to, because they would all sacrifice everything.
Because Gansey was like, he had to die to save everybody. And then Blue had to give up Gansey.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Everything.
You knew it was coming, but it just like.
So here's the we already talked about this, but here's the other question. So Blue kisses Gansey. Gansey dies. Tragedy. Cave's-Water gives itself up. Gansey's alive again. Can she kiss him again, or does his rebirth negate the curse? Is it even a curse? It was like a prophecy. So it said you would kiss your true love, and he would die. So she did. He did. All good. Or is it like an allergic reaction? Is it gonna always? Is he like allergic to bees and blue?
No, I think the prophecy is fulfilled.
Sergeant EpiPen.
It's terrible. No, prophecy is fulfilled. Plus, when he dies, his rebirth.
And the stuff inside the EpiPen has to be blue.
Really?
It just does.
A blue
it's the end of the long day.
Oh my gosh. This one is really about tangents, I guess. We're coming to. No, it is negated. They've not only have they fulfilled the prophecy, but I also think the death and thus rebirth negate it. Very Harry Potter like.
Well, you can make the argument also that if Cave's-Water was where the magic was from, and then they got rid of Cave's-Water, then that curse wouldn't exist anymore. But Ronan's magic came from the fact that his mother was from dreams, so he could still produce things in dreams, right? Because at the end,
yeah, it kind of led you to believe that.
I know. I think we're ready to rate.
Fun fact, though,
Steve
Otter's favorite line in this series is the very last one.
I'll look at that in a minute.
But we're not going to read it because that's way spoilery.
That's way spoilery.
That's just terrible. Though I did read the last line of Harry Potter when I first got the last book, so I turn down pages, I read last lines. I'm just a terrible reader.
I've been under the beginning of a book before we read the beginning because I'm like, really? Am I going to be invested in this?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to spend all my time if the ending stinks.
Not worth it. Not worth it.
But no, this, I mean, it was good. It was expected. It was solid. Nothing too exciting, but it was good.
So I'm going to give Raven Kings 2 unicorns. It didn't quite get to the Yeti status for me because there can be only one Yeti. Just one. But it was still good. And like I said, it was like watching the series finale of your favorite TV show.
See, this is hard. Like, and I think I'm avoiding rating it because
you gotta do it. Do it.
Like, I know what if it were any other book.
Well, if it were any other book, I would. But you don't need all the character development and all the backstory because you already know it.
Yeah.
So this book is written as part of a series, and viewing it as the finale of the Raven cycle, what would you give it?
1 unicorn.
1 unicorn.
Any other book, it would get 1 fairy. So
probably, but like I said,
but she created such great characters, and she did all of that work in the past. I love the characters. Well, and you know that she can still create good characters because Henry Chong finally meets up with us in this book, and we all love him. I'm speaking for everybody. We all love him.
The royal we. And so with that, I think we're finished.
All right.